Welcome into the Wiltfong Whiparound with Steve Wiltfong. Today is Thursday, September 4th, and I am your host, Josh Newberg. We got football. Week 1 is in the books. We're already into Week 2. Make sure you guys savor every moment of these. We got some big visits lined up this weekend, and me and Steve Wiltfong are going to break it all down. But before we get into it, if you've watched just one of these Wiltfong Whiparound episodes throughout the summer and you're not subscribed, well, now's the time to jump on board because things are about to heat up. Speaking of heating up, it's also a great time to join Rivals today because you get 1 full year of access to The Athletic, plus all the On3 national and fan site content. I'll tell you what, I'll put the link in the description of this video. Go sign up. All right, let's bring in national analyst Steve Wiltfong. And Steve, where should we start? Let's head out to the Plains where Auburn Tigers have a huge recruiting weekend on tap, maybe the biggest in all of the country. Tigers return home after beating Baylor, and I guess the theme on this one is flip targets on campus, Steve.
Well, on Wednesday night's article, I wrote 11 potential flip targets on the Plains. It's already up to 12. Thursday morning, as we talk right now, Josh, one thing I know for certain is when the Ball State Fighting Football Cardinals come to your stadium, the recruits flock as well. Huge game inside Jordan Hare as Ball State comes down to Auburn. For those new listeners, I live in Indiana. We like the Ball State Football Cardinals here at the Wiltfong House. But anyways, we like Auburn's chances with a lot of these potential flips that they're having on campus this weekend. Let's start with 3 right away that I think they have a good shot at. Lasiah Jackson, 4-star cornerback from Lee County in Georgia. Chad Simmons, first to report that the Stanford commit will visit Auburn this weekend. I talked to a source regarding that recruitment. If Auburn's turning up the gas there, I think they'll be extremely tough to beat. Same could be said about 2 committed to Florida State right now. The number 10 tight end in the country, Xavier Tiller, and defensive lineman Tico Crinendon. Both have remained in regular contact with Auburn, expected to visit this weekend, and I would not be surprised if all 3 of these guys aren't in Auburn's class come December. The Tigers pushing for another top 25 class. A few other interesting names. I was told on Thursday morning, the new name, keep an eye out for Georgia linebacker commit Shadarius Tootle, 4-star recruit at one point committed to Auburn. Apparently still keeping the Tigers warm at the very least. How about linebacker Chris Wells, committed to South Alabama? He is going to take his official visit this weekend. His brother, a 4-star defensive lineman, Corey Wells, committed to Texas, another prospect that Auburn is working to flip this cycle. Few more names, Josh. You have Jared Doty. He is an offensive lineman currently committed to Georgia State, but he's quickly becoming one of the hottest prospects in SEC country. Auburn offered last night. Missouri offered yesterday. Georgia offered over the weekend. He is going to be at Auburn this weekend. He's excited to see what it's all about. In-state tight end DeMarcus Broughton, committed to USF. I think Auburn offers soon. They'll be a contender moving forward. They're bringing in Louisiana Raging Cajun running back commit Cooper Crosby. He's 205 pounds with great speed. Had a tremendous junior season, poised to have even bigger senior season. He's someone that's rising up boards, including Auburn, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him this weekend. Duke receiver commit Deshaun Spencer from in-state. Another in-state receiver, BJ Bedgood, all visiting Auburn this weekend. So as the Tigers heat up on the field, as they try to wipe away the taste of 4 straight losing seasons with 2 straight top 10 recruiting classes, transfer portal success, this is a team ready to turn things around on the field, and they're also ready to capitalize on the recruiting trail with the product that they plan to show Saturday in and Saturday out.
Yeah, if they can win some more ball games, and this weekend they definitely should. No offense, Steve, but it should be an easy win for the Tigers here. Now, are there any 2027 names on campus Auburn fans need to know?
There is indeed, Josh. It starts with the number 1 player in the state, number 2 defensive lineman in the country, Donovan Moore. Auburn is already trending on the Rivals prediction machine for Moore as he entertains offers from coast to coast. Jace Johnson, Rivals number 3 quarterback in the country. He is committed to Texas A&M. Let's see if he arrives at Auburn this weekend. He's expected. He planned to visit Florida State last weekend, but the Texas A&M commit did not make it. A couple other high-profile names: Kelsey Adams, the nation's number 9 offensive tackle; Adrian Cole, the number 11 safety in the land; and then in-state quarterback Bobby Coleman, they're the early favorite for, and DJ Hunter, Buford quarterback, committed to Kentucky, expected at Auburn this weekend as well.
All right, Auburn fans, talk to us. Who's your most important flip target on campus this weekend? Also, hey, drop a score prediction in here. I know Steve thinks it's going to be very, very close, but Auburn fans, put your score predictions in the comment section below. Let's talk a little bit about the Oklahoma Sooners, because number 18 OU hosts number 15 Michigan on Saturday, probably the biggest game of the weekend, and you can tell because recruits will be there. So obviously it's a pivotal weekend for the Sooners. A couple number 1 players at their position are going to be there. Steve, break it down for us.
This is all about the 2027 class for Oklahoma and building momentum on the trail with a great performance against Michigan that can get the Sooners back to recruiting at a level that you and I have been accustomed to most of our careers, competing for top 10 classes, being in the national title hunt. Oklahoma's had a 6-7 record 2 of the last 3 years. Brent Venables has made major changes to his program. Obviously, the biggest change, bringing in offensive coordinator Ben Arbuckle, which then led to landing arguably the top quarterback in the transfer portal, John Mateer. In Oklahoma, there is a lot of anticipation and excitement about the program because of that. Talked to one longtime Sooner staffer that told me that John Mateer resembles a lot of the guys that they've had in the program beforehand. And that's obviously lofty expectation when you're talking about the Baker Mayfields, Kyler Murrays, and Caleb Williams of the world. This is an opportunity to go out there and do it. Show the nation Oklahoma football is back. And if they do that, it's really going to give them momentum with some of these key recruiting battles in 2027. The likes of Kennedy Brown. He's the number 1 offensive tackle in the country. He's the Rivals industry's number 1 player in the land, an offensive lineman from Texas, Oklahoma's backyard on the trail. This is a recruitment that I would expect them to be in year in and year out. They beat Michigan. It'll be interesting to see where the Wolverines stand moving forward with Kennedy Brown. Number 1 ranked corner Joshua Dobson coming in from South Carolina. He wants to see what Oklahoma's all about this weekend. Jalen Brewster's the number 1 defensive lineman in America. He's from Texas. That's another tailor-made recruitment for the Sooners, in my opinion, to be a finalist, get an official visit, but go out and play well against the Maize and Blue. They're already one of the early favorites for the top-ranked linebacker in the country, Cooper Witten. They were the first program to offer him. He loves Brent Venables, loves his history as a coach, guys that he's mentored throughout his career. And so he's got a lot of excitement about Oklahoma coming into the visit. Clemson's very much a player in that one. So is Ohio State, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, to name a few others. Oklahoma is also going to have their top quarterback in the 2027 class on campus in 4-star Peyton Houston. We saw them go out and beat LSU for Bo Bentley in 2026. Yeah. Bo Bentley grew up an Oklahoma fan, but they still had the battle to land him. Peyton Houston, he's trending towards USC right now on the Rivals prediction machine, including my pick, Sam Spiegelman's pick. But Oklahoma has always been one of his favorites. He attended a game at Oklahoma last year. He's coming back this year. He knows what Norman's all about on game day. Obviously, now getting to know Coach Arbuckle, a chance for him to see John Mateer run around. Maybe Mateer starts to evolve into a Heisman candidate, and that candidacy begins this weekend. So that all could be huge for Peyton Houston on campus in a recruitment where Oklahoma's been in the thick of it from the beginning. A lot of the Sooners' number 20 ranked recruiting class will be back on campus, including Bo Bentley and Jake Kroll. But it's a star-studded list of visitors in 2027 and beyond, and an opportunity for Oklahoma to set the tone and to change the trajectory of the program, which has been 2 losing seasons over the last 3.
Yeah, pretty important weekend, especially when you talk Peyton Houston, because you and I both know some of these 2027 quarterbacks are not going to be on the board by the time the season ends. Do you think Peyton Houston could be one of them? And if he is, I mean, this could maybe be the last face-to-face visit he has with the OU staff.
Let's talk game time. All of a sudden, the college and NFL football seasons are upon us. But guess what? We need our tickets, and getting deals on last-minute tickets can be frustrating when all you want to do is be there for the moment your team runs out onto the field. Well, thankfully, the Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing ticket experiences, and it only takes a few simple clicks. The app is easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means that you can trust that you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay. That's why I use the Game Time app. It's super simple and makes the experience of buying great seats a breeze. Also, one of the coolest features I've seen is the Game Time lowest price guarantee. It's where Game Time will credit you 100% of the difference to guarantee you're getting the lowest price if you find cheaper tickets elsewhere. All right, here's what we're going to do. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code ON3, ON3. That's the promo code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That ON3 for 20% off. Game Time, last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Well, Peyton Houston's been able to go out and see his top schools multiple times,
Right.
build real relationships, and he knows where he stands with these programs. And so, what more is there for him to learn? Certainly this year, watching some of his favorites play, getting in game day environments where he can really watch how these coaches interact with their players, see it one more time live with his own eyes, get back around the fan base, get around the players on the team, the other recruits that he could potentially play with at these respective schools. But yes, the quarterback dominoes are dropping faster in the 2027 class. And Peyton Houston is a big chip on the board because he is number one on several schools' lists. USC's Lincoln Riley's number one target. He's Arbuckle and Brent Venables' number one target at Oklahoma. And LSU has him as kind of like a 1A, 1B with Nussmeier, where whoever wants in can get in the in right now. But Peyton Houston is someone that thankfully has been able, for his perspective, to already visit his top schools and know where he stands with these coaches.
Yeah. Spots are there, but they fill up fast. That's what you're trying to say. All right. Let's give our predictions, Steve. Number 18, Oklahoma. Number 15, Michigan. They face off on Saturday. You want me to go first or you can go first?
You can go first.
All right. I think this is a close one. I'm taking Michigan by 3.
I don't like making predictions anymore, but I'll go with the Wolverines until Oklahoma proves that they can play some smash mouth football. We know that Michigan can be a physical football team. They showed that at the end of last season, the way they beat the Buckeyes on the road, the way they beat Alabama in the bowl game. And to win those games without a competent quarterback in those circumstances shows that when you play a Michigan Wolverines team, they are ready to dominate at the line of scrimmage. And I know they had some turnover on their roster from last year to this year, but the mindset is still the same. Michigan is ready for war every Saturday at the point attack, at the line of scrimmage, and we'll see if Oklahoma can rise to that. The Sooners definitely have the best quarterback on the field, and they brought in Arbuckle and Mateer for games like this to restore this program where it belongs in college football. And maybe we come on the Recruit Reaction Show on Saturday and we're talking about Mateer's Heisman candidacy and what it means for recruiting on the trail. But going into the ball game, Michigan is the more proven commodity of the two programs.
I agree. Oklahoma fans, get in the comment section and tell us why we're wrong. Let's talk a little Texas recruiting as the Longhorns, they return to Austin after that game in Columbus. They licked their wounds. They're ready to move on, and so are top recruits. And we'll start, Steve, with the number one quarterback in America, Kavian Bryant. According to Justin Wells of Inside Texas, he is returning to Austin after a great trip to Florida State. He was there for like 3 days, so he's back in Austin. Why is this important?
Well, obviously, Texas is one of the front runners for Kavian Bryant, who I think is closing in on a college decision. Number one ranked quarterback in the country per Rivals. Texas is one of his favorites as they battle Florida State, Texas Tech, and SMU, to name a few others. And he also has a Texas visit scheduled for later in the month. So 2 visits in the same month if he does indeed visit campus this weekend, coming off a tremendous trip to Florida State where they see an opportunity to play early at a program on the rise where Mike Norvell has earned the trust with the way he handles his athletes off the field as well as on the field. Just was a great visit to be there, highlighted by the trip, the win over Alabama. Florida State certainly moved the needle over the weekend. Texas was probably the lead dog coming into these fall visits, but Texas Tech, who is counting out the Red Raiders right now with the way Joey McGuire and company are recruiting top targets. We talked about it on the Wiltfong Whiparound early this week. They have LaDamian Guyton and Cooper Hackett, 2 5-stars in the fold, and Kavian Bryan as their next big target in this 2027 class. SMU lying in the weeds, but Texas, 2 visits on the schedule, one reported by Justin Wells, one reported by me. Decision is expected this fall. So Texas in this battle as they try and stack quarterbacks behind Arch Manning and Diabell.
All right, let's talk a little about Kavian Bryan. Do you think he makes a return trip to Florida State before a decision? Do you think he makes it to Texas Tech before a decision?
He's going to be at Texas Tech, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And then he's going to be at SMU in Texas one more time before announcing his college plans.
So how many teams are legitimately in it for Kavian Bryan as we are maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks away from a decision?
Well, as of right now, those are the programs I view as the top contenders. Florida State, Texas Tech, Texas, and SMU, maybe in Oregon or somebody like that jumps in and makes a move, and maybe that slows Kavian's process down, or he finds a weekend to visit them before making a decision sometime this season.
All right, and you can tell he's a priority for Texas. Maybe at one point he'll be the pillar of this 2027 class, and Texas is bringing in some wide receivers around him this weekend. Chris Stewart, Alvin Mosley, Audic Williams, Trey Moore. They're all going to come in, and that's what you want. If Kavian Bryan is going to be your QB for that class, you're going to want those wide receivers around him. Steve, you also confirmed another big name from the 2027 class on the defensive line that it's expected to be in town.
Yeah, touted defensive lineman Xavier Muhammad going to be at Texas this weekend. He's very excited about the Longhorns program, what they offer on the field and off the field. He's a tremendous student athlete that takes the classroom just as serious as the football. So he's excited to get to Texas this weekend, continue growing that relationship with the Longhorn staff.
All right, and then let's wrap it up with this. 2 important commits on campus, 2 names that if you told me back in April or May would be locked into the Longhorns, I would have been pretty shocked. And I'm talking about edge Richard Wesley and linebacker Tyler Atkinson. Atkinson making his first return trip to Austin since his shocking commitment picking Texas over Georgia. We know James J.J. Johnson is kind of looking around. He's a guy that I wouldn't say he's on flip watch, but he definitely has an open recruitment. Is Wesley and Atkinson a little bit more locked in your opinion?
I think both Tyler Atkinson and Richard Wesley are locked in with Texas. I think the Longhorns did what they needed to do to get those recruitments done, and then certainly what they offer on the field with ability to come in and play right away for a program competing for a national championship, the way they develop those positions. And then again, in the modern recruiting era, I think that Texas has locked those guys in at this point in the process.
Let's talk a little Oregon Duck recruiting. And, sometimes the Ducks are the flippers and sometimes they're the flippy. Let's talk about edge Anthony Tank Jones. He's back in Eugene after visiting Miami over the weekend. You spoke with the family. You had a couple articles on Anthony Tank Jones up on the front page at rivals.com. Go check that out. Anthony Tank Jones back in Eugene. What do you make of it, Steve?
Well, it's obviously big for Oregon to get him on campus this quickly after his visit to Miami on Sunday, where he saw the Hurricanes beat Notre Dame. I talked to Tank Jones's father this week, and he says that it's going to take a lot to flip his son from Oregon. The relationship and track record Dan Lanning and Tosh Lupoy have with Tank and what they've done historically recruiting or done historically developing the position is exciting. I think Oregon stepped up from a modern recruiting standpoint and made it exciting, and where they're at as a program competing for Big Ten titles, national titles, and then this recruiting class he's part of, he feels like can help Oregon win its first national championship if they don't get it done this season. But he's going to pop up on some other game day visits. They've been honest with Oregon about that. Some other schools that he strongly considered were obviously Alabama and Texas A&M. But Oregon has checked all the boxes for him that he's looking for in a school, getting him back to Eugene this weekend, a place that they said feels like home. They said Eugene has a feeling of the South up in the Northwest.
Mm-hmm. So what was the purpose of the Miami visit? Do you think that was maybe one and done? He went to a great game, saw what he needed to see, and is moving on? Or is Miami going to linger in this recruitment?
Let's talk game time. All of a sudden, the college and NFL football seasons are upon us. But guess what? We need our tickets, and getting deals on last minute tickets can be frustrating when all you want to do is be there for the moment your team runs out onto the field. Well, thankfully, the Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing ticket experiences, and it only takes a few simple clicks. The app is easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means that you can trust that you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay. That's why I use the Game Time app. It's super simple and makes the experience of buying great seats a breeze. Also, one of the coolest features I've seen is the Game Time lowest price guarantee. It's where Game Time will credit you 100% of the difference to guarantee you're getting the lowest price if you find cheaper tickets elsewhere. All right, here's what we're going to do. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code ON3, ON3. That's the promo code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That ON3 for 20% off. Game Time, last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Well, I think some schools they're still keeping these schools warm, and Miami's one of those programs with Jason Taylor. It's an exciting opportunity, a program on the rise. You're still having conversations through the season, and we'll see where the chips fall. I'm not anywhere close to predicting Tank Jones ending anywhere else other than Oregon. But programs like Miami are being kept warm at this point in the process, and he's not signing till December.
Yeah, and is Alabama and Auburn, because he is he's from the state of Alabama, or is Alabama and Auburn a threat in this recruitment as well?
I don't know if we can deem anyone a threat at this point, but schools that are still in the mix, and Texas A&M is another that I would point to. Okay. Tank Jones is one of their most coveted targets, regardless of position. They were going to stay on him no matter the result of his summer commitment, and so they're another program that I would watch maybe for a potential visit in the season. But Oregon continuing to do all the right things for Anthony Tank Jones.
All right. Now, quarterback Bryson Beaver, he's a good one. Oregon locked in on him early. He's a riser in the rankings. He's going to be on campus. Seems like the 2026 situation at quarterback is kind of solved with Beaver on board, but what about 2027 quarterback recruiting for Oregon? Is it starting to heat up?
Well, they got two guys that are at the top of the board, Keegan Croucher from the Northeast and Trent Seaborn from SEC country. Those are two guys that Oregon covets at the position, that they're near the top of the list for both. Seaborn's going to be at South Carolina this weekend. That might be their biggest competition. And then Keegan Croucher is high on Penn State, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Oregon. But Oregon doing a great job with both. And those are the guys that they're on the gas for right now.
All right, Oregon fans, talk to Steve and I. How are you feeling about Tank Jones? Is he going to stick or is he going to flip? Let us know. Comment section below. Let's talk a little USC Trojan recruiting and USC. Their second home game of the year, and there's going to be some big-name visitors that we're going to go over. But first, Steve dropped a new prediction for the Trojans. Let's get into it.
Yeah, DeVay Williams, one of the most coveted corners in the country. Back at USC over the weekend, Adam Gorney and I continue to like where the Trojans stand. Our Rivals prediction reflects that. Loves the staff, the trajectory of program, close to home, the vibe he gets when he's on campus at games. USC setting the tone early in that recruitment, but they're going to have to battle. There's other contenders in the mix for DeVay Williams, but we like USC at this point.
All right. Well, game time is going to be – the weather's going to be beautiful. We know that. It always is in Southern California. So it's a great time to bring in recruits, and I think the 2027 class is going to be pretty well represented at this one. Who else will be there? Inside Scoop listeners and football fans in general, whether you're cheering on Clemson Tigers or the Troy Trojans, this Saturday, September 6th, make sure you drop by the Whataburger food truck during your tailgate. Get ready to bring home the W early with a hot, fresh Whataburger in hand. And no matter who comes out on top, when you take your team to Whataburger, you know you'll feel like a winner. With food made fresh and hot every time, 24/7, we'll see you at the game, and we'll see you at Whataburger.
Yeah, one of the best receivers in the country, Quentin Hale, will be on campus. USC, obviously, one of his early favorites, Lincoln Riley, Dennis Simmons, extended a scholarship back in April. They're a program to watch. 4-star safety Gavin Williams, edge rusher Taven Epps, who's committed to Texas. Those are a few other prominent names in the 2027 class that are going to be at this home game. And then in 2028, the nation's number 5 safety, Jalen Flowers, is another headliner.
All right. Now, this USC class, currently ranked number 1 in the country, it's done a good job sticking together. Are there going to be any USC commits on campus this weekend?
Yeah, most of the class will be back on campus. I think you're excited to see Keeney Pepe back. He's someone that Miami's never going to give up on. Brett Koleje, Luke Weaver, Talanoa Ely, Tom Topui, Samodi Kedianga, some of the guys that are going to be in the stands in the Coliseum supporting their future school.
Let's talk some Nebraska recruiting because the Huskers are dialing up a big visit weekend. Steve, got to ask you, is Trey Taylor, the 2027 QB commit, is he going to be in town for this one?
Absolutely, and so is safety Torrey Pittman. Nebraska's off and running in the 2027 cycle. 2 top 100 commits for Matt Rule and company. The Huskers want to make a push for a top 10 class in 2027. They're invested from a modern recruiting standpoint. They're looking to sell the trajectory of the program, ready to have a big year with Dylan Raiola and company in Lincoln this fall. And those are 2 great starts to a recruiting class. And this weekend, they're going to host a few more of their top targets in 2027, and then some big names in 2028.
Who else in the 2027 class are you excited to see in Lincoln?
Well, that list starts with the number 1 ranked interior offensive lineman, Albert Simeon from Louisiana. He tells me he's going to be at Nebraska this weekend. They're one of the early favorites. LSU, of course, Texas A&M's in there, Tennessee, to name a few. But Albert Simeon had a great visit to Nebraska in the summer, said it's the best facilities in the country, loves the coaching staff, the way they support the players, and the environment of football in Lincoln. So Nebraska, one of the early contenders there. They're pushing for some of the best wide receivers in the country. Pitt commit Jacob Thomas from Miramar, Florida, is a major target at the position. The number 10 edge rusher in the land, KJ Green, is someone that Nebraska is also on the gas for. Been a lot of Alabama and South Carolina buzz in his recruitment, but Nebraska looking to make a move with KJ Green.